Safety Wrestling Podcast here, Ernest Jesus Christian, alongside Mike Rainier, Joe Lopez. Fellas, it's been a few weeks.
Listen, I just want to take this moment to declare my entry into the 2021 Royal Rumble match. And after much consideration, I've decided to enter the men's match. So I just thought I'd put that out there. It might be my only way to get a ticket to Wrestlemania, because if they do have fans and they only sell like 20,000 of them, that's going to be a pain in the ass. So it might just be easier to fucking eliminate Goldberg.
This Goldberg thing, I swear, I have no comment on that. Mike, what's up?
Fuck the Dallas Mavericks.
Don't get him on basketball, man. God, I hate it. Anyway, of course, Safety Wrestling Podcast you can find on all podcast platforms, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, and Amazon Music.
All right there, Forrest Gump. I don't need to know all the different types of shrimp.
Huh?
I don't need to know all the different kinds of shrimp. You don't have to tell me every podcast.
That's for our listeners.
Do they have it on?
You?
Do they have it on Smoke Signals?
Yeah, Smoke Signals.
Can you get us in Braille?
Anyway, first off, fellas, thank you for, we haven't done a show in 2 weeks. I haven't done a show in 3 weeks, actually. Because I was, as you guys listened to the last episode, I was out with COVID for a few weeks. Didn't do shit. Any podcast of any sort. This show, my other show, or one maybe. Thanks for filling in the course. Mike, thank you and your wife for the tacos. That was great.
You're welcome.
Crush those things, dude. It's really good. But yeah, we got a lot to catch up on. It is Rumble week. Although we were recording this on a Saturday as opposed to a Sunday, but it is Rumble week. 8 days away. We'll get there in a second. Before we get to that, I want to touch on one big news item of the week that dropped earlier. The WrestleMania announcements. That WrestleMania this year will be 2 nights again. Will be in Tampa again. Or not Tampa, in Florida again, should I say. Not Tampa. Orlando was last year, but whatever. And that this year is supposed to be LA, and LA has been pushed now to 2023. What's next year's is where? Dallas, right? Okay, cool. All right.
The Jerry Jones Mega Center Deathplex.
Yes.
I really hope that they, like the last time, that they have the images on that, what is that, like 40 million foot long?
The Jerry Jones Mega Death video replay booth.
Yes, and I hope they have the things again where they tell us who to cheer for and they tell us who to boo.
Yes, that was awesome.
Do you remember that?
Yes. They're like, cheer, yay!
Yeah.
Seriously? Yes.
Yeah.
I tried to take a photo of it, but I couldn't get a clear enough photo. I was like, they're literally telling us who they want us to cheer for. This is cute.
Dallas was Mania, 33? 32?
It was
not 32.
It was whichever shit one had Roman Reigns versus Triple H in the main event.
The 3 things I remember about that WrestleMania. Number 1, we had really good seats. I remember that. We had a really good view of the show. Number 2, fucking Dallas is boring as shit. Like, I'm not looking forward to going back to Dallas, Texas, if I'm being 100% honest. And number 3, Baron Corbin asked me what my thought was about some meat.
About what?
Meat.
I don't mean Sean Stasiak either.
Oh.
3 things I remember from Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Actually 4 things. 1, there was a lot of us.
Yes.
2, I drank a lot that weekend.
Wait, wasn't Dallas the one you went with our buddies Blake and Craig and Chris? Yeah.
Oh my God, that was the weekend that Craig found out I was gay because I went to go hook up with some guy at a hotel nearby.
Did it work?
And Craig was like, "Oh, good for him going to get that girl." And Mike was like, "No, it's not a girl."
And he just looked at me and he goes, "Really?" And I go, "Yep." He goes, "All right, he's getting laid anyways."
Yeah, right.
That's all that matters, right? Come on now.
Yes.
Hole's a hole.
Yeah,
So,
literally, all I remember is that. I remember the great fucking barbecue because I want to go there again.
Yes.
I heard that was great. I heard about that place.
And last but certainly not least, we got to go to opening day at the ballpark in Arlington.
Right.
Oh, that was fun. Yeah.
The Rangers, right?
The wrestling show in itself, WrestleMania, was a decent show, but I remember this is the debut of the women's title.
Right.
It was the Charlotte Sasha Bailey triple threat.
No, Becky.
Becky was in it. Okay, I couldn't remember if it was Becky or Bailey. I knew it started with a B.
Yeah.
And then it was just like I remember it was like, oh, Triple H versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, there's two major news items of the Mania right now, the Mania announcement. Number one, them moving the LA Mania to 2 years now.
I think that's because of the Super Bowl.
Obviously. Yeah. Obviously.
I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I was surprised that they were going to even contemplate having WrestleMania there before that because, like, how bad California is. And do you think the NFL is going to let anyone be the first people in that stadium?
Yeah.
That isn't an NFL game? Shit.
Right. Yeah. Number two, we got announcement today that they may be having fans at the Mania this year.
Yeah, I mean,
Super Bowl as an example before they go forward.
Right, that's what I was gonna say. It's like the fact that they're gonna have 22,000 fans at the Super Bowl. I mean, if the Super Bowl can do it, and I think it's really kind of cool the way the Super Bowl is doing it. I don't know if you saw that, but a decent number of the tickets are going to essential workers and first responders.
Oh, right, yeah.
From all the different 32 NFL team communities. I think that's great. And that's one of the things. It's funny because look, I'm not thrilled about them having fans, to be honest, at WrestleMania because I'm not thrilled about the idea of having to travel right now that much. However, I'm not going to not go to WrestleMania if I have the chance to go to WrestleMania. Mike and I, that's our thing. We went to the last 9. We didn't go to this past year's because, we couldn't get tickets. I tried to scalp from the overhead ceiling fan, but he wanted too much. So I was just like, fuck you, guy.
He was kind of a dick.
It was like a total dick. In the good way.
A high-pitched total dick.
So, I was, so I'm not thrilled about it, but I'm gonna go if I can. So, right now,
wait, you guys are planning on going this year? You guys are trying to go?
Yeah, no, as long as they actually sell tickets and it's actually possible to get said tickets, which is why I'm saying, right now, I have low-key anxiety about the whole thing because, they haven't made any kind of announcements about it. But, I want to know
also.
Right. Listen, I want to know some ticket prices. I want to know how many tickets are available. I want to know if, are they going to have a certain amount of tickets specifically for essential workers and stuff like that? I think that's a great thing. And if they decide to do that, bravo WWE for following the NFL's, lead. But I need to know these things so that I can make my plans because April's not that far away, and I have to figure out how I'm traveling to Florida and all of that. This feels very Oregon Trail, and I'd rather not get dysentery.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I would say the big takeaway here is, because they're having it at an outdoor venue. I don't know that I'm all for the hype train of 2 nights. I mean, I get not wanting to burn the crowd out first time back, stuff like that. But it's I just don't understand how you're going to try to feed people ticket prices. And, you're playing Russian roulette if you're going to get Drew McIntyre versus someone, or if you're going to get Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton in a set your pinata on fire and then hit somebody with it match. You don't really know which one you're going to get. It's if you don't get tickets to both nights, it's let's take a gamble.
My guess is the whole reason that they're doing 2 nights is because if they are restricted to only having, say, 22,000 fans per night, at least they're coming
they'd rather have 44,000.
Right. They're coming a little bit closer to their normal WrestleMania numbers at that point, so.
No, I'm saying from a Vince perspective, it makes sense. From a card perspective is the only thing I'm questioning because you have to figure you're going to get Roman one night, you're going to get Drew one night. You're not going to put both of them on the same night. You're going to get probably one of the women's title matches one night, one of the women's title matches the other night. And then it's like, what other matches do we really like see here? Do you see Goldberg having a match with someone? Do you see another match from somebody like John Cena, who's been rumored to potentially being around for WrestleMania this year? But it's like where's the route they go here? I mean, are we getting another Randy Orton versus the Fiend kind of thing? Like what? Like there's just so many. I think there's more questions than answers when it comes to some of these things.
It's a valid point too, though, because I know that my opinion on like New Japan and Wrestle Kingdom having split into 2 nights isn't really the highest opinion, because it does feel like they take basically one really good card and split it into 2 and add some matches that you don't really need, and it becomes a little bit more of a mess. It reminds me of like this Taylor Swift concert I went to once, back in my straight days. And we it was like a 3-hour concert, because in between every single song, homegirl decided to like talk for 10 minutes about how amazing her fans are. It was like after the 3rd time, I was like, no, seriously, I paid to come see you. Like, shut the fuck up and sing. I don't know how you do both. But the point is that like I do feel that same way too, though, where it's like, okay, I don't need you to take an hour-long really great show and turn it into a 3-hour-long, okay, I'm bored after the first like 2 hours because like you've dragged this out too much. And I feel like New Japan has done that with Wrestle Kingdom the last 2 years. And WWE, like last year, was a little different because, it was a very new situation. COVID was really just kind of starting. All of a sudden, you had no fans. Like, that was a very different thing. This year, especially if you're going to have fans again, like, yeah, no, I think it is going to be, like, a little bit more glaring, the whole 2-night thing. Because if they go the same route that New Japan goes and that they did this past year, you're not going to see guys on both nights for the most part. You are going to get, like, Drew is going to only be on one night, The Fiend is only going to be on one night. And, like, Mike is right. I don't know how you sell that then, because, like...
You're playing Russian roulette with what you choose to go to if you can't go to both.
Yeah, exactly. If your favorite superstar is Randy Orton, you have no idea whether or not you're going to get to see Randy Orton.
Unless they announce the cards the night before or like the week before.
Like before they start selling tickets?
I mean, I don't know if you can go that far because I don't know when they're going to start selling tickets.
Right.
But
I don't think you'll ever get the entire card like weeks upon weeks out in advance. But I think you'll get the main matches, like the main events, and maybe the next 2-level series of matches beforehand.
I don't even think you're going to get that because I don't think they're going to have it booked long enough in advance. I mean,
I will say this much because we did talk about this last year about the idea of, and this is even before COVID, or at least early before they announced the Mania being 2 nights, the idea of them doing 2 nights as a thing. And they're definitely testing the waters right now, looking at this, seeing if they can capitalize on this going forward, making Mania a weekend event. I mean, not just like
I don't think that they're looking at it from that perspective. Mania has always been a weekend. No, Mania has always been a weekend event because we've always had Takeover.
No. What I'm saying, though, making it Mania night 1 and night 2.
No, they will not do that going forward.
You don't think they're considering that at all?
Why? They're going to go back to putting Takeover on Saturday nights. They're doing it because of the exact reason that Joe stated. They're doing it because they're trying to get close to what they would have for fans on a normal WrestleMania. 44,000 looks a lot better than 20,000 because the thing is you're not going to be able to sell fans, especially fans and fickle fans that are angry at WWE and are like, oh, we're going to go take our viewing privileges to fucking AEW and all this other stuff. Like, you're not going to be able to sell them consistently on gambling about which night they want to buy tickets to when it comes to this stuff. Like, they're inevitably going to have to go back to doing it one night and maybe making the matches a little bit more special because you're going to run into a spot where you're going to make the fans pick and they're going to start picking wrong and they're just going to start getting pissed off and not buy tickets to the show.
I'll say one thing. I do think that I could see them trying it in Dallas. I could see them trying it, making the gamble once, because at the end of the day, if the gamble goes, successfully, all of a sudden you're doubling your profit quite literally from what you were expecting. So I can see them going for the gamble, because at the end of the day, if the gamble doesn't work, you're probably still getting like 40, 50 million fans per night. So they're not exactly, going broke or anything. They're not exactly going to have numbers that are going to disappoint their investors and stuff like that. I think it's still going to overall look good for them. But I can see them testing it, just from a business standpoint,
But it won't look good. It'll be obscenely noticeable to the eyes, and that's the problem. The number can look as good as it wants, but if you have an entire upper deck section that's empty, and then you go to pan the crowd and you just see like 150 seats that are just empty, that are noticeably empty.
But that's what I'm saying, though. Like I could see them trying it, and if that's the end result, then they don't do it again the following year. Like they file that one with like the WBF, and it's like, all right, we tried that, and that wasn't a good one, But that's what I'm saying, though.
With them already announcing the dates, I don't think Vince is gambling here. I think Vince is going with what works. And
yeah, probably.
I don't think he breaks away from that.
I do think that if they did decide to try it, though, like, there's definitely, I can almost see no version of it where it doesn't look good to investors,
right.
In some form,
Is there a takeover plan this year around Mania weekend?
No.
There isn't. Okay.
Not that I've seen. Everything I've seen about takeover has been either before or after.
Right.
But I don't know if there's been anything set. The only thing I know for that takeover is that if it doesn't end with Finn Balor versus Pete Dunne, I'm going to be very upset.
Now, I'll be honest with you personally. I don't want to see 2 nights to WrestleMania once we're back to normal at all. I'd rather have takeover Saturday and all the events surrounding it, and have 1 night Mania, and that's it. But I would not be surprised if Vince is considering this in the future.
Hopefully. I would say the one thing that I would say, and I would even like to see it this year, because like Mike was saying, like, how do you fill in half this card? If we're not going to have a takeover anyway, NXT is one of the 3 brands for WWE. Let's get some NXT matches on these 2 shows.
I agree. 100%.
There's a supposed February 14th takeover show.
Okay.
So
I mean, like honestly,
I would still put Finn Balor on that show.
No, I was like honestly, look, follow me here. If you do Finn Balor and Pete Dunne at the takeover, you have a great match. We all know Balor's going to win that. Then WrestleMania weekend, on one of the 2 WrestleMania shows, you do Killian Dane and Balor. You get, not Killian Dane, Karrion Kross, yeah. You do him and Balor. You give him his big moment now on a WrestleMania where he wins the title. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt the next day. And, maybe you have a big star on your hands.
I was going to say, how did Killian Dane get, main event status also?
Oh, yeah, I had the wrong... remember back in the day when, guys weren't allowed to have the same names? Like Shane Douglas wasn't allowed to be Shane Douglas because they already had a Shane. I think I need that back, apparently, because I can't remember these guys' names.
Right. I mean, I don't know. They got to put something on there, even if it's the women's title match, even if it's Io versus someone. Again, I mean, I think there's got to be some form of NXT on there because, perfectly honest, Brian did an interview and he's like, you can't think of NXT as a developmental brand anymore. No. They're their own brand. They do their things. It's like, you got to remember, it's like, they're good. Like, and if we don't have a developmental brand, for them, like, maybe we need to find one. Like, almost like they should have kept Evolve running as like a developmental brand for WWE. And I think
to be fair, I think they would have kept Evolve running if the pandemic didn't happen.
Had there not been a fucking global shutdown?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you supposed to do with Evolve at that point? Like just have shows on the network that nobody's gonna watch?
I mean, they're putting up all the old shows like water.
I don't dislike it.
No, I mean,
go ahead.
I think I agree with Brian though. I think there has to be some kind of almost, I'm not going to say like a developmental brand for NXT, but I feel like there's got to be somewhere where a lot of those excess talent can get work that's not just the Performance Center, because I think you can run through as many whatevers as you want, but until you get out there and do it where it gets released, and you go on your Twitter and you see that people are like shitting on your match, like all it is practice, and all they're going to think about is, oh, I'm ready, and then they put them in that spot and they're not ready.
Right.
It's a game changer, and I mean, honestly, being in front of a live audience is the be all end all. But if you put matches from people out there and they're not good matches, and then you go back and you read about them, people are going to figure it out that they got to either get better or that they're going to have their own issues. And I think that's something that's being lost right now in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Right. One piece of news.
We're calling this last 15 minutes of conversation the extra 4 take, catching up on the last 3 weeks.
Well, this was actually a take that initially that Mike was going to talk about, and then I mentioned the Royal Rumble being the preview. We need to do a preview, but real quick, one piece of news for any old school wrestling fans like myself: the award-winning WWE Network this week finally, after 7 fucking years, added Wrestling Challenge. So right now you have all 1986, which I finished already for the record. So it's on there. It's a record.
What was the best? What was the best? You said you watched the whole year of it. What was the best match?
It was 86. Best match. Well, I can't say Savage Steamboat because that was technically not a challenge match. They took that from Superstars and they showed most of the match on Challenge to just kind of tie the storyline that started with him, crushing his larynx and all that shit. Right. But I skipped through it. I didn't go through every episode, every single match. I went through the checkpoints and see the ones I was interested in, like Andre and Giant reinstatement and all this other stuff.
Right. Okay. Fair.
So anyway, all right. As I said earlier, it is Rumble week, which means it's also the precursor to Mania time, Mania season. So let's get and of course, Royal Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view of the year. So, and probably yours too, right? I imagine. Yeah? No? Maybe so?
Probably my second. Behind
War Games?
No. I mean, behind wrestling, as a yearly show. I mean, I love WrestleMania for very many reasons. As a gimmick match, Royal Rumble might be my number one, maybe only behind War Games.
Right. So, that's Mike's topic this week, Royal Rumble this year.
Yeah.
Do this.
As someone who, is very big fan of Royal Rumble and wants to go to see another Royal Rumble, since me and Joe have already been to one of those.
Which one did you go to?
Arizona.
That's what year? 2018?
18.
Yeah.
Or was it? No, was it 19?
It was 19.
It was 19 because I got.
Seth, right?
I got the jersey with 19s on the back. That was Becky winning the women's one, and that was.
Yeah.
Was it Seth winning the men's one?
Yeah, Seth won the men's one. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I'll go back and look real quick. It's the process of the interweb. Yep, Seth won it. He closed the show, beating Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman.
Is he?
Joe's favorite.
Yeah, I think he's still dinged up, Joe.
Okay.
Who, Braun?
Yeah.
So wait, if we're talking about the Rumble, do we think that Rollins is coming back as a surprise entrant?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think he comes back. I don't think Becky's ready yet.
No.
All right, we'll start women's title match from the SmackDown brand. The champion, the boss, Sasha Banks, will take on Carmella.
This is really a question? I mean, of course it's Sasha. I mean, next question.
I think it's more of a question than you're giving credit for. Carmella's really come back since her hiatus and has been pretty good, on the SmackDown show. Obviously, Sasha makes the most sense because I think you're leading to a Sasha versus Bianca match at WrestleMania. But, I mean, I wouldn't say that it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility.
You think there's no shot, no chance you see Bayley Sasha WrestleMania, right? No chance.
I doubt it.
I mean, I think you have a better shot of me and Joe Lopez both entering the Royal Rumble, winning, and then challenging for the SmackDown tag titles against Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode.
Well, you know.
Ooh, can we do that?
Anything can happen. Come on now.
I mean, it doesn't say that it has to be. Does it say that it has to be a world title match? It just says that you'll get a tag team championships. Let's go.
Hell yeah. I'll
Let's
say
go.
this. I'm excited for that match because their match at the TLC pay-per-view in December was so much better than it really had any right to be, I felt like. Sasha is, I honestly feel like the best women's wrestler on the planet right now. I don't know that anyone is coming close to her performances. And Carmella's a lot better than I think anyone's ever thought she was. So, I mean, I'm excited for the match. I'm assuming Sasha's going to win, but I'm excited for the match.
Oh, I'm going to assume Sasha wins as well. And the only person that I can see being up to that level with Sasha is just Io.
Yeah. I feel like the thing hurting Io is that she's just not like being used much.
No, that's definitely her problem. But from the in-ring perspective, the only one that I think is on the same page as Sasha right now is Io. And that's saying a lot because you have Asuka, you have Charlotte, you have Bayley, you have got people like that have actually been really, really good. And I don't think that they're on the same chapter as Sasha and Io right now.
Yeah, I can see that. I can agree with that.
Right, me too.
All right, WWE Championship match. It is the leader of the Claymore Party, Drew McIntyre, taking on Bill fucking Goldberg.
I mean, like, here's the thing. I don't see what the point is if Goldberg wins. Like, you're not doing a rematch with Drew at WrestleMania. There's nobody who could possibly win the Rumble that would make an interesting match against Goldberg at WrestleMania. There's no, like, anointed person coming up to win. You know, like last year, Drew winning, you know, we all were worried that it wasn't actually going to happen, but the fact that it was meant to happen in a way, you know? They had set that up so perfectly, and he was, like, anointed to win. And it was like, okay, great, we're finally getting that moment. There's nobody this year that I feel like we have that with. So even more so, like, there's nobody that I feel is fitting to go against Goldberg. I could, you know, and I hate the idea of it, but I've heard some people float around the idea that maybe, like, Roman causes Goldberg to lose this match, and that leads to Goldberg and Roman at WrestleMania. I can get behind that. You know, if we have to have a Goldberg match at WrestleMania, which I really don't want, but if we have to have one, I can get behind him versus Roman.
Can Goldberg do anything for Drew at this point? Not. I mean, I don't see. I mean, I don't know, man. Like,
no, I mean, obviously, if Drew were to beat Goldberg clean in the ring, 1, 2, 3, that I guess it says something because Goldberg is, you know, he's still Goldberg. I mean,
it adds to
not a
legacy,
star.
I guess, right? Adds to his legacy, to Drew's
on.
legacy. I beat Goldberg.
Hold on. How does that add to his legacy? Are we just going to forget that Braun Strowman beat fucking Bill Goldberg in like 94 seconds last year at WrestleMania with like 6 running power slams? And we're supposed to believe that Drew McIntyre beating him 1 year later at the same show is going to add to...
Nothing makes sense, though. Nothing. This match existing makes no sense.
It really doesn't.
This is actually worse than the Fiend against Goldberg last year in Saudi Arabia.
No, it's not. No, it's not. That match is no. You can't sell me on that one. Fucking, you can't sell me on the fact that that fucking match in Saudi Arabia was worse than anything because at the end of the fucking.
That's why it's
gonna
be
stupid.
Fiend.
It was it was stupid because they took the fucking title off of him.
Right, it's all
that was stupidity. No, okay. So the only reason why this match makes any realistic sense, from my perspective, who could challenge right now Drew McIntyre on the Raw roster that would make sense, that would not hurt them?
AJ Styles? Wouldn't hurt him.
I think it would hurt him a lot more than it would help him.
You think so?
You know, if they hadn't blown their RKO load for 4 months, they could have gotten away with Orton.
Yep, can't go back to that though because it's been.
No, you can't go back there, right? Exactly, but they could. He would have been in the perfect position for it because, like, they're trying to extend out his feud with the Fiend, and there's only so much he could do against Alexa Bliss.
I mean, I would have said Seth at one point. I mean, I know they fought back in like May last year, but I didn't really go far. What really hurts that?
The only other person, I mean, when you look at the Raw roster,
right?
The Raw roster is not the deepest roster.
No, it's not.
So, of the people that have announced themselves for the Royal Rumble match, which we're going to get to, you have Lashley. It would hurt him if he lost because you're building Bobby Lashley.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Styles, I don't think it would help him. Randy Orton, been there, done that. Jeff Hardy, it's Jeff Hardy. And The Miz, who's Mr. Money in the Bank. So it's like, what do you do with him? You have him lose and then have him cash in the Money in the Bank after Morrison helps him. But if you look at the rest of the Raw roster, it's like, oh, who could make sense? Who wouldn't get fucking crushed by losing to him? Let's see. You're not going to put anyone like anyone from Retribution.
No.
Sheamus is like his friend. Riddle is doing whatever the fuck Riddle does.
Wait. Wasn't it at one point kind of seeming pretty obvious that we were going to get Sheamus versus Drew at the Rumble for the title?
Yes, it was blatantly obvious.
I can't believe that WWE has found a way to make me feel really, really regretful that we're not getting a Sheamus match.
It's almost like they should have saved Drew McIntyre versus Keith Lee for Royal Rumble.
Yeah, or give him to Sheamus.
I mean, either of the two of them would have made logical sense.
Because at least there was the storyline there. It wasn't just Goldberg showing up on, fucking 4:00. Everyone eats for half price night on Monday Night Raw and being like, "I'm gonna challenge for the title."
I hate making fun of Goldberg, man, but God, I mean, he looks so out of place there.
Dude, yeah. Goldberg in 1999 was a terrible wrestler. Add 12 years to it. It hasn't gotten better.
No. Is it his contract, 2 appearances a year? Is that what it is?
It's 2 matches a year. If this match is not under 7 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's saying something, because at the end of the day, there is no stipulation to this match. This is a singles match. This isn't a no DQ match. This isn't a fucking false count anywhere match. This is fucking Goldberg versus Drew McIntyre. And I'm supposed to believe that Goldberg can take a Claymore kick? That dude is the fucking purpose why Bret Hart had to retire. Because he kicks fucking awkwardly. You think he can take a kick? He can't even throw a kick.
Let me say this real quick. I'm going to pick Drew to win the match. But because of WWE's past stupid booking with Goldberg in the past, if he wins the match, wouldn't surprise me. Just cause.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
I don't think they're going to have Bill Goldberg carry the fucking WWE Championship 2 years in a row into a fucking WrestleMania.
No. And I agree with you. I don't think that he's going to win. I think Drew's going to win. Exactly what Ernest just said. I'm literally just copying him. I think that Drew is going to win. I would not be surprised if WWE did the WWE thing and Goldberg walks out with the belt.
Vince last minute goes back and scratches the plans. All right, Bill, you already got it. It's your belt tonight. Like, fuck. No. Please no.
I think you know what? Here, if Bill Goldberg wins, The Miz cashes in Money in the Bank and walks out of Royal Rumble World Champion.
That'll make more sense.
If you wait. If you think there's any planet in this known universe where Bill Goldberg would agree to do the job to the real world guy, I got a bridge I want to sell you.
I'm sorry, he's getting paid oodles and noodles.
Thank you.
A fucking amount of money to wrestle 2 matches a year.
But he's also one of those guys who takes it too seriously and is like, I would never lose to such a scrawny little guy.
Okay, Undertaker, go home.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you, but I'm just saying, let's be clear here. Bill Goldberg is one of those generation of guys, and Bill Goldberg was one of those guys who had no problem being like, I ain't putting this person over.
When he had the ability to, sure. But I mean, I don't know if he has that much leverage anymore because he needs them a hell of a lot more than they need him.
Yep.
Does he though?
Nobody wants him.
I mean, I don't.
You know what? Go to AEW and fucking come out through snow like Sting.
Hey, don't hate on that.
Somehow we've turned Sting into fucking some character from Game of Thrones. Winter is coming. Really, guys? Really, real fucking original Tony Khan. Winter is coming. I'm sorry. I don't think that WWE needs Bill Goldberg. I think the fact of the matter is the Raw brand right now, all their guys are being built in a certain way that, you know, the only people that could have really actually wrestled Drew McIntyre were Sheamus and Keith Lee, and you just had the Keith Lee match, and I don't understand why the fuck they wouldn't just pull the trigger on Sheamus, except for the fact that he's a fella. I don't get it. So at the end of the day, it's very confusing the fact that we're getting another meaningless Bill Goldberg match. And if Goldberg wins this, he is going to get booed out of that fucking stadium.
He deserves it.
I don't care who he wrestles. I don't care if he wrestles, you know, Brock Lesnar, fucking Billy Lichtenstein. I don't care if he wrestles Roman Reigns. I don't care. He's getting booed out of that arena.
Yep.
I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie. I could definitely see a world. I'm gonna put ahead like all 3 steps out here. I can see a world where Goldberg wins next Sunday, and then at the February pay-per-view, he has a rematch against Drew, and Roman causes him to lose, and then that gets us to WrestleMania, and that gets us Roman and Goldberg. I could see that happening so easily.
By the way, we have 2 pay-per-views in between now between Rumble and Mania. They announced Fastlane's back. That's in March.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they pushed WrestleMania back 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
So maybe that alone worries me and makes me think that there's a possibility Goldberg wins because of that. They have enough time to fill in.
Well, the only thing is, if it's a legit, like, he only wrestles 2 matches a year, then you can't have him lose the title before Mania because that would be a 3rd match.
But I'm saying you can't even give Drew the rematch.
Yeah, no, if that's legit. I mean, who knows? He might have agreed to an extra match because, story or whatever. Like
Money.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think Drew loses the belt here. I think that if Bill Goldberg walks into either night of WrestleMania as champion, I don't care what night it is. If we're there, I'm just going to flip the bird at him the entire time he walks down the fucking ramp.
I'm with you.
Because you built Drew to this crescendo to have some guy that lost to fucking Braun Strowman in like 3.5 minutes beat him for the title. Do we believe that Braun Strowman's better than Drew McIntyre?
No, but I feel like they already stole some of Drew McIntyre's shine when they had him lose to Randy Orton only to win the title back like a week later.
Well, he had 2 wins before.
I don't know. I think Randy Orton's a little bit more credible than Braun Strowman.
Yeah, but this should be like the tail end of his almost year-long title reign, not his second reign because he had to lose to Orton for a week.
I mean, I think if you're legitimately thinking that perspective, it's kind of ticky-tack because there's a lot of people that aren't going to even remember that he lost the belt because it was so short.
Right.
So I mean, I think the problem that I just keep coming back to is I don't know that you pull the trigger. Like, Drew's been the guy that you've been building. The pop that he got after he won the Royal Rumble, the everything else. It's like now you're like, here's your chance to really get him that WrestleMania moment. You're like, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna have you lose the belt before you even get to WrestleMania. I just don't know if fuck it right now is the move that they need to make.
Well,
I think they need.
The only scenario where I see him losing at the Rumble also involves getting to a point where he wins the title back before the Rumble. Before Mania. That's the only way that I see him losing at the Rumble. But I don't know. I think we're getting Roman and Goldberg at Mania, no matter what.
God, why?
Oh, you really think so, huh?
I mean, you know they're going to want Roman in there against the biggest star they could possibly put out, and Goldberg's kind of their, like, in case of emergency, break glass right now.
What?
Well, anyway. So
All right.
are we all picking McIntyre meantime?
No, I mean, I'm going to because I really don't want fucking Bill Goldberg to walk out of that fucking pay-per-view with the title.
I agree.
I'm going to pick Goldberg to win because I feel like WWE is going to WWE the shit out of this.
And piss me off.
Last man standing match. Universal title, Roman Reigns with the table. And Paul Heyman and one of the Usos. And probably they're going to bring Alpha and Sika back for this. You know, and they might even bring back the other Uso and Tamina and, you know, the People's Us and all that. Versus Kevin Owens, which was supposed to be Adam Pearce, but then they pulled some hoodwinking shenanigans. And now it's Kevin Owens.
It's a good feud.
Like, it was a great feud, but it felt like it came to a pretty decent end at, like, the last pay-per-view and then the match they had the week later, the steel cage match. I've loved their matches with each other. I love Kevin Owens. I'm a huge KO fan, but there's no scenario where he wins this match. There's no scenario where anyone was beating Roman prior to WrestleMania. So, like, honestly, I was actually really on board with Adam Pearce getting a match. First of all, let's be clear here. 5-time NWA World Champion Adam Pearce. Like, let's not act like this is when Vince McMahon would get a title match. You know what I mean? Like, Adam Pearce has the resume to actually kind of be deserving of a world title match at any given time. So I was actually a little excited that he was going to have a match here. I was excited because it was a good story, and because at the end of the day, it didn't matter if he lost, and you knew he was going to lose. I've been wondering what they were going to do with Kevin Owens after his feud with Roman was over. It looks like it's not over yet, so I guess we still don't know the answer to that question. But I feel like this is one of those scenarios where, like, Owens is getting this great push, and at the end of the day, like, he's not going to be on WrestleMania.
You don't think he'll be on WrestleMania?
I just have this weird feeling that, like, he's going to be one of these guys that, like, easily gets kind of, like, lost in the cracks because he's been such a huge part of the last few months and he's gotten such a huge push. I hope I'm wrong.
I can see him not being at Mania in a match and then maybe get involved in a match. Maybe cost Roman the title at Mania.
Maybe. I don't know. At some point, I don't know where you go with this. It has to have an ending.
Well, this is the ending here.
I'm going to go one further. He's going to have a match in WrestleMania.
Okay.
His match will be against Daniel Bryan. And it will be for the Universal title.
You think Owens is going to win the belt?
Stun Owens, stun.
So, wait, Owens wins at Rumble.
Yes, and you want to know why?
Shit.
And you want to know why?
Why?
Bill Goldberg. Goldberg cost Roman as retaliation for Roman costing Goldberg. Because what is the one match that does not need the world title? Roman Reigns versus Bill Goldberg.
That's true. And you get Roman and Goldberg without the titles.
Yeah, it's true. You don't need the title.
That's good booking, Burn.
And if you don't go that route, then you have yourself in a predicament where if Drew gets out with the title, you have whoever wins the Royal Rumble face him, and I guess we get stuck with Roman versus Goldberg in a 25-minute snooze match at WrestleMania night 2. Or night 1. I don't know what night it'll be. But
that's not a bad scenario to pull off, though, but I don't see it happening. I'm going to take Roman.
I mean, honestly, everyone should take Roman. The way they've been building him is this is Roman's company, and that's fine.
But, you know, but you're not wrong that he also doesn't need the title. He doesn't, like, he is the number one act on the show without needing the belt in any capacity. and you can make someone else matter as being the champion and kind of give him a foil also at pretty much all times, because obviously whoever the champion is can walk around being like, what are you talking about? This is your show. I'm the champion. So, I mean, there is interesting story to be told there. The two things that I'll say that the reasons why you actually almost have me convinced that Owens is actually going to win here. Number one, because like you said, Roman doesn't need it. And Roman versus Goldberg doesn't need it. And there's a clear story here that can work. I think I just gave like 5 reasons. But number two, because it felt really weird that Kevin Owens is getting another title shot. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it really felt like they put the pin in that little coffin. They closed that chapter of the Roman Reigns story, and they were supposed to be moving on to something else at the end of the December, after their match at TLC and then their match on SmackDown on New Year's Day. It kind of felt like, okay, this is done. This is over. Owens can move on to something else. Roman can move on to something else. So I'm really surprised that we're seeing Owens get another title shot. It could be that at the end of the day, someone was having a conversation and was like realizing the stuff that Mike just said, and realizing that they could book that, and all it took was putting Owens into another title match.
I will say right now, Roman doesn't have prestige. What now, Mike?
I think the thing that I keep coming back to is I thought Owens was always going to get another shot because of the way that they did the whole push him off the fucking Thunderdome fan thing.
Yeah, I thought they were using that to just protect him.
Or it was either he was getting another match or he was getting a vacation. It was one of the two. So when they went with Pierce, I figured, okay, if they give Adam the match, they're obviously going to lead into Roman versus whoever for the title at WrestleMania, whatever. But now they put Owens back in. It's like, this match does not need a world title. I mean, at the end of the day, or the universal title, whatever fucking title he has, it doesn't fucking matter.
Title.
He's the universal champion. He is. How long has he been champion for?
Since September, late August, September.
August 30th, he won it at Payback. So he's been champion for 145 days.
Who did he beat?
He beat Braun and The Fiend.
I literally couldn't remember who had the title.
The three-way match, remember?
The Fiend had the title. He won it 7 days earlier from Braun Strowman, and then they lost it in a poorly booked triple threat match. Poorly booked. Don't leave that part out. It's a very integral part. So I think I love that KO has held that title. He was the second champion ever. Mm-hmm. He's got a lot of history with that belt, and I think that it just makes a ton of sense to have him win the title at Rumble. You could put him in an Elimination Chamber match, and you could put Roman in that match, and you could have Goldberg come out and cost him that too. And then you could get to a match. And honestly, if Kevin doesn't make it to Rumble as champion, I wouldn't be surprised. You want to know why? Another thing that they could do if things aren't going well, they have the ace in the hole. Put the title on Miz at fucking Money at Elimination Chamber. Give me Miz versus Daniel Bryan. The feud that's been a fucking build-up for 3.5 years. Give me that crescendo at WrestleMania for the world title.
Decade-long feud continues.
But I get behind that.
But Bryan being out for all that time and being on Talking Smack, and the Miz and him going at it, and it being this big crescendo. Give me the end of it at WrestleMania for the world title.
That only makes sense that Bryan wins Royal Rumble, which I'm predicting.
Based off of me predicting that it's going to be Kevin Owens versus Daniel Bryan for the world title at WrestleMania, you would have to assume that I'm also picking Daniel Bryan.
Correct.
Let's go to the men's Royal Rumble match.
Let's do that.
We're talking about it. So far, people that have announced their rights to be in the match.
Joe Lopez.
Yes.
Joe Lopez is the 13th entry. Joining him are Daniel Bryan, Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, a now burned and disfigured Randy Orton, Otis, The Miz, Jey Uso, Cesaro, Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, and Shinsuke Nakamura.
I'll tell you a wild card real quick. who could actually benefit from the win.
Bobby Lashley?
Yeah, there we go. Right. Yep. Because I have a feeling he'll be touching one of those titles within the next year.
I agree with you, but the thing is,
US title.
Lashley winning the Rumble would actually be really awesome. I would be a fan of it.
Especially
but
now.
It would mean that he has to beat Drew then at Mania, and I don't know that I love that.
Right. No, I get a feeling that Lashley will be either a Universal Champion or a WWE Champion within the next year.
Oh, yeah, I could see it even at, by SummerSlam or whatever. So
yeah.
I just know that I see it at Mania.
Because the Her Business thing is helping his gimmick a lot.
Looks like a great fucking stable.
Love it.
Will they be a stable by SummerSlam?
Oh, that's another question. Yeah. But but if he was a title, it would have done its job. It's to build up the character.
Also,
it's a couple of characters anyway.
The problem is Bobby Lashley still can't cut a promo if his life depended on it.
Well, maybe Brock Lesnar, but
you know what? At the end of the day, I don't know if Bryan's gonna win, but I don't know how to not want my number 2 favorite wrestler of all time, who has never won a Royal Rumble, to not win a Royal Rumble. I have to cheer for him, so I'm just gonna pick him.
The only other way that I would prefer that this go down if it's not Bryan, and this is going to be, and it's going to be very hilariously entertaining from a me perspective. I want to see an implosion of the Heyman brand. Brock comes back, wins the Rumble, and immediately challenges Roman so that fucking Paul has to pick what side he's on.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Just from an interesting standpoint, I would find that to be hilariously interesting, and I would think that angle would be fun to watch. I don't know how great it would end up being on TV, but I think it would be hilarious to just see how it would play out.
It would definitely. I mean, that would be a big match, in the same vein as Goldberg and Roman would be. I feel like Brock and Roman would be pretty huge. Although you've already done that at WrestleMania twice.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. I would just say that I think that it would be cool to see Heyman have to pick who he's going to.
Oh yeah, no, I love the story.
With.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where.
But are we all picking Daniel Bryan to win the Rumble?
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not picking Bryan.
Right.
And all right, let's go for the Women's Royal Rumble match. Currently announced as competitors in the match: Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, Bayley, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, Peyton Royce, Alexa Bliss, Shayna Baszler, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, and Tamina. That is 12 of the 30 entries on the women's side. Before we go in the women's side some more, men's side, any shocking entrance you think this year?
I mean, I'm sure a couple old timers. Not when I say old timers, like from 10, 15 years ago, not so much 30 years ago. Let me think.
You'll probably get some NXT people.
What are the odds Edge comes back this weekend or next weekend?
I don't know where he's at on his injury, but I guess it's not impossible.
65%.
Okay. Because it was a 9-month injury, they were saying. 9 months, at least. And we're around that time now.
I mean, you have to remember, if you go back to the year that Cena was the number 30th entry in the Royal Rumble at MSG, he came back a couple months early from his injury. And he was cleared enough to do that spot. And we didn't see Cena again except for promos for the next 2 or 3 weeks or a month or two, and then he was back for WrestleMania. But literally he went through that portion after Royal Rumble where he didn't do much.
I feel like you just stumbled onto a potential surprise winner of the Rumble.
John Cena?
I mean, if he's rumored to be wrestling at WrestleMania anyway.
Is that rumored now? Is that a thing?
I thought you said that at the beginning of the show.
Me? No.
I did.
You did, yeah.
Oh,
the rumor right now is that there's going to be 2 big matches as the bookends for both shows. You're going to get the 2 title matches, obviously, and then a match involving Goldberg and a match involving another potential, big draw name. Who's the biggest draw name that you think's available? Cena, because you're not calling Taker. You call Taker, you're a fucking moron.
The only other one.
I think they tried to call The Rock and got
I was
no.
going to say that. The Rock's probably the only other one, but.
I would rather wait and save The Rock for Dallas.
Next year. Dallas. Yeah, me too.
You can put 100,000 people in that stadium because we've done it before. I think I would save Rocky for that personally.
But honestly though, Cena could make a surprise comeback at the Rumble, win it, and Cena versus Roman's another kind of really big deal match for Mania.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think it's a match that would draw. But I don't think personally, I don't know if drawing is going to be that big of an issue.
Right.
I think you're going to fill that thing with. You could honestly probably tell 96% of the wrestling community that you're going to get a Otis versus Miz match in the co-main event spot on one of the nights. And they'd be like, live wrestling? I'm in. That match is going to be putrid, but it's live wrestling. And I can boo it and then tell you about how much it sucked on Twitter while posting a picture of me watching it in person. There's a lot of people that are going to feel that way. Trust me.
Yeah.
All right, Women's Royal Rumble. I've told you who's in it so far. We have 18 current spots to fill. First off, before we predict our winners, any crazy things we think are going to come out of that? Any re-debuts or pop-ups or something crazy?
I'm going to predict that Lita doesn't show up.
Oh, really?
No Trish Stratus?
No, it sounds like she's not very, she's saying some stuff about, how her time in WWE ended recently. I just don't see her being a surprise entrant.
I saw that story too. It's on Deadspin, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trish Stratus, maybe? No?
I don't know. I feel like other than just some NXT girls, I don't think we get anybody else in particular. And I can't think of anyone that could possibly debut. I really, there's kind of nothing. I feel like it's just going to hopefully be a well-booked match. And I feel like there's not even a clear front runner for a winner.
Yep, I was going to say that. I don't see anybody I feel strong about picking, Charlotte Flair. Well, she won it last year, so,
Right. I could see maybe Rhea, if you want to use it as the vehicle that gets her over to either Raw or SmackDown, that certainly makes a lot of sense. And especially, I think I've predicted before, a scenario where Charlotte wins the Raw Women's title and then you have Rhea winning the Rumble, and you get to do the rematch from last year's Rumble, which honestly, I'm all for that, especially if Rhea actually gets to win this time.
Yep.
But I think I've heard, I think you mentioned earlier that Bianca would probably be the person that ends up challenging Sasha, for the SmackDown Women's title at Mania. So I guess that puts Bianca in the possible runnings as a winner. I remember her looking fantastic in last year's Rumble.
She did.
And then kind of, not getting as much of a push as she deserved. So if this is, her comeuppance, if Vince forgot about who the fuck she is until Rumble season and then all of a sudden was like, hey, someone remind me about that girl that looked really good at the last year's Rumble, and now we're going to get her, getting a big moment, I'm for it. I actually get very behind that.
I would think that you'd have to say that realistically it's Bianca, potentially Charlotte, and Rhea would probably be the 3 favorites going into the Rumble match itself.
Maybe Alexa's a wild card. I don't see her winning.
I don't feel like Alexa has that I don't know. I don't feel like that's where her push is going.
Right.
I agree with you. I don't think that right now is the spot for her. If she wasn't doing this whole Firefly Funhouse thing, like maybe I could agree to it. I think you have a better shot of telling me like, hey, it's gonna be somebody from NXT winning it, or somebody along the lines of like, oh, here's a sleeper, like it's gonna be fucking Lacey Evans, with the whole Charlotte gimmick and all that. Like, I could see Lacey costing Charlotte her in the match and something like that, and it being a crazy outcome like that. But I don't know that there's necessarily the the depth of like, okay, it's these three and then it's everybody else. Like you could say, oh, Shayna Baszler. Like, I think you might be able to sell me on Shayna before Alexa as a wild card.
Fair point.
I'm just gonna say, I think Bianca's gonna win. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Wouldn't shock me.
I would say that if it's not, like I said, if it's not her, it's gotta probably be Charlotte or Rhea.
Right.
Well, I like the booking Joe does have there. Go to the Mania rematch with Rhea and Charlotte.
Yeah, I think we get that no matter what. But like, obviously, Rhea just winning the Rumble makes it an easy road.
How do we get it to who's Charlotte winning the title from? Asuka?
Well, Asuka, right?
Asuka. I mean, they are still a tag team, right?
Right, but I mean, that makes it even easier to like get them into a match because we're tag team partner, blah blah blah. It's it's Wrestling 101 at that point. It's
you also have two pay-per-views.
Hangman Page story.
And not only that, you have 2 pay-per-views between Rumble and Mania to utilize that feud.
Right, exactly. You can have them lose the tag titles at the next pay-per-view and then have Charlotte win the Raw title at the pay-per-view following.
See, I don't know necessarily that we're getting Rhea versus Charlotte right now. I can see Rhea beating Asuka, and then SummerSlam being Rhea versus Charlotte in the rematch.
I mean, possibly. I don't know.
I don't necessarily think that I need Charlotte Flair to be the world champion right now of the women's division. I'm not one that's like, I'm not saying that I don't appreciate her in ring, because it's definitely been a thing, but it's like she's almost been the Roman Reigns of the women's division for the last 3 years, where it's been like, oh, there's a title match and there's Charlotte Flair.
I think it only works if you definitely have Rhea win, obviously, at that point.
I guess a new blood in there. I agree.
Yeah.
That's why I almost would rather Asuka lose to Rhea straight up and then give me Rhea versus Charlotte in the rematch at SummerSlam.
They could even get there by having Charlotte win again, be the first ever 2-time Raw, Rumble winner for women.
I think Charlotte's
that won't get shit all over on the internet.
Charlotte's in a place now where she doesn't need a title anymore.
I mean, they don't need it, but just because like it's almost like just because they don't need it doesn't mean that it doesn't make sense.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Rhea Ripley didn't need the NXT Women's title anymore. That's why she lost the title to Charlotte, and then eventually Charlotte lost it to Io and not back to Rhea. Because I don't think that Rhea needed the women's title as much as people thought she did. Now, the fact that they haven't moved her to the main roster in a year since then is their own fault, and they're retarded for that.
Right.
But that's not her fault, and I don't think that's anything that she didn't necessarily needed the belt. So I think that we're at a spot now where Rhea would make a ton of sense, but I don't know if we're getting Rhea Charlotte back-to-back years.
So, see, the main reason why I could see them doing it again this year, though, is because if they have fans and stuff, I think it gets to be Rhea's big, anointing moment.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But their match will not be as good as last year's match.
Why do you say that?
I don't think you can put that much. I don't think that they can live up to that match. I really enjoyed that match last year.
It was good.
Really well done.
I agree.
And I just don't know that. I mean, I get it, having fans and the adrenaline and stuff like that. I just don't think that that's going to get, I just don't think they're going to live up to that match again. I think it's one of those where it's like it makes sense, but it may fall flat. And if it falls flat, is it too much too fast? Should we have really done this 2 years in a row? I think that you have females there, new fresh matchups. I think Asuka makes the most sense for Rhea to win the title from at WrestleMania. She still gets her big anointment moment. It doesn't have to come off the back of Charlotte Flair.
Fair point. So that's all the Rumble matches. That's all of it.
All that's been announced so far. I wouldn't expect there to be much more,
right?
Because then you're going to start thinning out your herd of
entries.
And usually the Rumble card is only like 5 matches.
Right. Yeah.
There might be a 6th match, and then there might be one on the pre-show. I wouldn't expect a lot of extra matches because those matches are going to take probably an hour each. So
yeah, easily. I'll tell you what though, last year's Rumble, the men's Rumble, was amazing. Top 3 all time, in my opinion. The way it was booked, the booking on that was fantastic.
I have to go back and rewatch it. I don't remember it.
God, I've watched that Rumble at least like 6-7 times since last year.
Wow, jeez,
that good.
That's why you're always.
You have Dominic, Brock's the first 12 guys out.
Wait, but that's why you're always behind on like AEW and NXT. You just keep watching the fucking Rumble from.
No. Blame my son too. My son loved that Rumble also. He always wants to watch it.
No, own it, bitch. Don't try to put it
No, he likes it a lot though.
This is on you. No. This is your fault. You are like 5.5 feet taller than him.
Joe, guilty.
God.
All right, let's get to the next topic, I guess. This is mine. So we always shit on the AEW's women's division on this podcast, and rightfully so. Yeah, I agree. It is trash. But the one bright spot has been Britt Baker. And as we said last year on this podcast, that basically the move that changed her career was moving her from a babyface to a heel, and this heel turn she's been on last year has been phenomenal, and yet she's not the champ. She still doesn't have the belt yet. What's got me thinking, does Britt Baker actually need the title at this point, or I don't know.
Joseph?
So it's funny, right? Because it's almost like you could just, change the names out of the Rhea Ripley conversation we just had. The Charlotte Flair Rhea Ripley conversation, and just add in Britt Baker instead, and you kind of get your same answer. But I think what's interesting to me is, and when you brought this up, Mike kind of countered with it, and I thought it made sense. The question isn't necessarily only does Britt Baker need the title, does the title need Britt Baker? And I think that's actually more to the point. Britt doesn't need the belt. Britt is over. Britt has a great act. She's a great character. She's easily the best female character on the AEW roster.
No question.
She's great in the ring. Basically, it took them an extra year to do the thing that they said they were going to do from the start, which is put the women's division around her, center it around her. But they finally got there, and it is working. And, she looks great. She doesn't need the belt. However, the belt needs her, and it does, hands down. That women's division is, from top to bottom, is overall a joke. Shida being champion, I'm sorry, she has no character. She has she can't cut a promo. She can't do, she's okay in the ring, but she's nothing amazing. I feel like Kenny Omega got this idea in his head at some point that every single female wrestler out of Japan is fucking Miami Toyota, and that they're all legends in the making, and you can't go wrong with any single one. But guess what? You can. And they've gone wrong with a lot of them, I feel like. Honestly, when I saw the announcement the other day for the women's upcoming the tournament to crown a number one challenger. The thing that where I think Mike sent it to us and was like, Britt Baker has to win this. It's like the fucking oops, we forgot to put the condom on that led to this whole topic, you know? I feel like I looked at that meme and I looked at the two brackets and how one side was dedicatedly Japanese wrestlers, and I groaned because all I could think of was they're not going to bring in really talented, really great talents. They're going to bring in the same 4 or 5 women that we've seen a million times. If the fucking Freddie Mercury chick walks out, I'm changing the channel
I
and
haven't
never
seen her in a
watching
while, actually.
AEW again.
Is she on Dark now all the time?
I
No,
haven't
she's
seen
in
her in a hot
Japan.
minute.
Okay.
She's in Japan, genius.
And I don't know.
You know that she's one of them bitches that they're gonna dust off.
Oh,
For real.
travel
And I don't
restrictions.
ever need to see her again.
I
I'm
agree,
sorry.
100%. I agree.
I just feel like, at the end of the day, this entire women's division needs a big old, reboot. And the best starting point for it is putting the title on the strongest member of said division. And as we've all said, and I think we all agree, that's Britt Baker.
You know the best women in that division outside Britt Baker aren't even actual AEW employees, officially anyway.
Well, who?
Like Serena Deeb and the other 2 chicks that came in.
Oh, like Thunder Rosa.
Thunder Rosa.
Yeah,
and,
you're absolutely correct.
Yeah. They're not even AEW employees.
The best AEW employee after Britt Baker is probably Ivelisse and Diamante.
And they just got signed.
Right.
Yeah, they won the women's tag tournament thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I'm gonna give AEW the credit, the little bit of credit that it deserves here. They're clearly trying to build the division. They got this little deal with the NWA, and that's why they've had some decent talents showing up from there. They have, they just signed Ivelisse and all that. They really should have gotten Mercedes Martinez when they had the chance.
Yeah.
But, they're trying now. They're making the right moves. And that's what I'm saying. I feel like they're in a place where they can full, hard reboot this division. But you got to start from the top. And, honestly, it's like you put the title on Hulk Hogan in 1984 for a reason. You know what I mean?
Like I said, I'll say what I said last year at this time. They can use a defection from WWE, like a frustrated mid-carder for that matter.
I don't think that helps them.
You don't think somebody that's say give me a mid-carder from NXT, for example?
Who? Candice LeRae?
Better than anything they have in that roster.
I mean, yes.
Candice leaving is like fucking being crowned the new United States champion fucking tomorrow night on Raw.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, I'm not beating Bobby Lashley. Have you seen his forums?
That's true.
Okay, so let's first off, Britt Baker does not need the AEW Women's title. The AEW title needs Britt Baker, and that's not even fucking close to being an argument. Second off, there isn't anyone on the mid-card roster of women's that would be a defector that would be a difference maker. I'm sorry, you're not going to sell me on the fact of Tamina, Natty, even Naomi. Don't think that they're a difference maker in AEW. I don't think there's a mid-card member of the NXT roster that big of a fucking of a curve.
Honestly, unless it was quite literally Becky, Sasha, or Charlotte, nobody else would make the kind of impact that you want. Huh?
Lane Bailey?
I don't think so. I don't think even Bailey, and I love her. I love her. I don't even think she would make the kind of name recognition level. I don't.
Here's the thing: to fix the AEW women's division, obviously, step one, title Britt Baker. Step 2, things that they should have done a long time ago. I don't know, sign people like Allison Kay and sign, who's the other one that's a fucking free agent right now? Oh, fuck.
The one, what's it? John Morrison's wife.
Yes, there we go. There we go. Joe, you're in my head.
Tyra Valkyrie.
Correct. You sign the 2 of them and you add them to Britt Baker and the Thunder Rosa, and you can keep using Serena Deeb and stuff like that. I like that. I like that they have some kind of, developing portion of the brand. And it's, it's literally like above average. I hate the fact that they're literally like, oh, well, we're going to go with Hikaru Shida and Emi Sakura and, this trash. And, hopefully it works. Obviously not working, so maybe we should fix the problem. No, we're just going to keep going with the shit. Give me a left side of the USA bracket if that's the way they do it, with like Britt Baker versus like Ashley Vox. Give me Allison Kay versus Serena Deeb. Give me Thunder Rosa versus Taya Valkyrie. Give me Big Swole versus pretty much anyone else that they have there, and like I could make that serviceable. But if the Japan bracket's going to be like Rio, fucking Freddie Mercury Jr., the other 2 that wrestled on like the pre-show of the first AEW show, and like 2 members of like the Stardom roster, that right side of that bracket's going to be hot trash.
Yeah, look, if they sent someone all the way over to Japan to fucking sneak Rio back over here in a fucking piece of suitcase, I'm gonna be pissed.
Oh, no, she's coming back, buddy. Get ready. I saw a report that she just finished up her obligations to Stardom, and she's getting ready to make a full-time move to the United States.
I mean, okay, I'm gonna say it.
Talented in the ring.
I'm gonna say it. Half my problem with her from the start was the fact that she like won the title and then disappeared for 3.5 months. Mm-hmm. So like, if she comes over here, huh?
She pulled a Brock Lesnar, dog.
Yeah, but she wasn't a Brock Lesnar level talent to be pulling a Brock Lesnar. If she comes over here and all of a sudden is like, a workhorse for AEW, maybe she could actually add to the division. Because she's not horrible in the ring, but she certainly was tainted to me.
She can't hurt the division.
She definitely can't hurt it. That is facts.
I mean, a division that includes Nyla Rose and Big Swole, I don't think that you can hurt it by adding Rio to it. But the problem is, like I said, if they do a USA versus like, if they make it like USA versus the world, and like they put like all international talents, and like, oh, they used to have Bea Priestley. If they put her in a match and she loses in like the semis to Rio, and she has a couple of good matches leading into it, like I can live with that. As long as it's not like, here's Rio, the Freddie Mercury wannabe, and like 6 other Stardom talent that are just gonna fill in. I'm sorry, I don't like that. I'd rather them just make it an 8 fucking the USA roster that's here every week, that's putting up matches. I mean, you could put Ivelisse and Diamante in that I didn't even mention, and it becomes immensely deeper because of how good the 2 of them are in ring as singles, as well as how good they are as a tag team. And if you have this working relationship with AEW or with Impact, put Kimberly, put Deonna Purrazzo, put Jessica Havoc, Nevaeh, women like that are in the Impact roster that may not be challenging Purrazzo for the Impact Wrestling with Knockout title. Put them in the tournament. Let them come over and try to win the titles.
Honestly,
it helps the division immensely.
You know what would be a really awesome match to get on the Revolution pay-per-view? And unlike the one match that they've already announced, you don't have to film it 3 days in advance.
Thank God.
You give me a 3-way match, bragging rights,
Mm-hmm.
Don't put any titles on the line. I'm okay with that. Just bragging rights. Or put the AEW Women's title on the line.
Serena versus Purrazzo versus Hikaru Shida.
Yep. It's like the one division where you can get away with doing that. All the champions in there, and it doesn't complicate any other storylines or anything like that.
I don't hate it. I think that it's a great concept.
I would watch that.
I would too, because I know what I'm getting from Serena Deeb and Deonna Purrazzo.
Exactly.
I
actually believe that they could carry Shida to a pretty good match.
That's what I'm saying. If I get half of a decent match out of Hikaru Shida, then I feel like it's a success.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that at all.
Alrighty. Joe's, bring it home.
For a Britt Baker topic, we spent very little time talking about Britt Baker.
Well, yeah, but a lot.
I think we both made it abundantly clear.
Yeah.
The title. She doesn't need the title. The title needs her.
Right.
Yeah.
Completely agree with you guys.
I don't know how much more of an argument that we can make for the most over act finally being awarded with the crown jewel of the division. I mean, the only other way that it gets worse is if they put it on that Jade Cargill, whatever the fuck her name is, Shaq's friend. They put the title on her. That's the only way it gets worse.
Oh yeah, Jade. Something like that.
Trash.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's just Charles Barkley in a wig, right?
Terrible.
Good God.
That's just terrible, Joe. That's terrible. Terrible.
All right, Joe, bring it home.
Terrible.
All right. We should be able to make this one fast. So in the interest of making it fast, I'm going to explain it very quickly.
Wow.
If you watch Dynamite, and we know you do, unless you're Ernest, and then you're just watching the 2019 Royal Rumble again. But if you're watching Dynamite every week, you know as well as I do that good old JR, who used to love nothing in the world more than barbecue sauce, now loves nothing in the world more than picture-in-picture. This man makes me get excited for when I have to squint to see the small version of the big version that I was just watching 2 minutes ago, but now they're trying to sell me KFC at the same time. So, I wanted to know from you guys, what do you love as much as JR loves picture-in-picture?
So let me tell you quick why I appreciate the picture-in-picture comments he does all the time in his takes. Is because, so how I watch Dynamite, I don't watch it live. You guys already know that. I don't watch it on fucking, replay. I watch it on demand. Now, the problem on demand is you have advertisements. However, I found a loophole how to skip the ads and to stay on, watching the show without the ads. But you have to hit forward, like 30 seconds forward, to get there. Now, when JR says picture-in-picture, that's my cue always to go forward. So I always appreciate that. So it's a good thing when he does that, because it tells me that they're going to commercial and I need to hit forward my forward button before the ads start. So
this is real. You should try it sometime. If right before the ad is gonna start too, if you hit up, down, left, right, A, B, you get Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Come On Soon on commentary. You should try it. You should totally try it.
The goats.
Yeah.
What do I love like JR? Pro wrestling. My kids, my wife. Like JR loves picture-in-picture. But that motherfucker loves picture-in-picture. But he does it like at least 7 times on the telecast?
He really does, though. It's kind of his like really big addition to the commentary team.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, for me, it's my cue, and because I don't want to watch 2.5 minutes of fucking TNT ads of what shows are on this week on TNT. Like, I know what shows are on TNT. All right, let's move forward. I don't have a DVR. You know what I mean? Right. So that's my cue. Hit 30 seconds forward, and I'm back to the other side of the ads. So thank you, JR, for picture-in-picture.
Mike,
I love pure smelling Gatorade. Taco Bell seasoned sunflower seeds.
Wait, like they sell those at Taco Bell?
No, they sell them at Dick's Sporting Goods.
Really?
Yes, they're actually very good.
Huh.
I got one.
Blue raspberry Jolly Ranchers.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oatmeal cream pies.
Yeah, those are good. I don't know if I'd put them on my list above JR's love for, but I like those.
Oh.
Damn, I just had one and I just drew a fucking blank on what it was.
That's
Damn it, I
fucking
gotta try to
Logan
remember.
took all mine today.
Oh, Oreo McFlurries.
Really?
Oh my god, yes.
Are you one of those that has to have Oreo on top and the bottom? I was requested make sure you put it on the top and the bottom, because if you do all on the top, it's a trickle on the bottom, and it's all fucking ice cream in the bottom without no Oreos, and I can't stand that.
Obviously.
Yeah, I definitely. I'm one of those people that ask for a little extra Oreo.
Fill that shit
I like
up.
a little extra Oreo in my ice cream.
That's right.
Yeah, so I decided to go with the food portion of the show because Ernest took the cheesy, my wife, my kids, all that fun stuff.
Well, I was gonna say oatmeal cream pies, but fucking Logan took all my. I had 6 left this morning, and there's 1 left when I come from work. Like, really, dude?
That's what you get. Take them to work with you. Put them in your book bag. Do something.
Yeah. I know.
Okay, so I want to play a quick game now. Well, like
Okay.
we'll do like 4 or 5 of these. It won't go very long. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna name a wrestler, and you're gonna tell me what you think they love as much as JR loves Pitcher and Pitcher. Roman
Awesome.
Reigns.
Hair gel.
Table. The table.
Seth Rollins.
Organic beard wash.
The white suit
Eddie-
from SummerSlam 2015.
Oh my god, he was so hot in that suit.
Jesus Christ.
Kenny Omega.
Broomsticks.
North Carolina.
Oh my god. Let's see. Let's put a big one out there. Goldberg.
Sparklers.
Gilbert.
Oh, you think he just straight up loves Gilbert?
Yeah. Closet Gilbert fan.
Oh my god. Chris Jericho.
Bandanas.
Limited bubbly.
There you go. I was waiting for one of you guys to say that one. All right. One last one.
Okay.
And we're going to go female for this one because it seems only fair. Charlotte Flair.
Andrade.
Oh my god.
She loves her dad being involved in all of her storylines as being foils to her as much as, Jara loves Picture in Picture.
I wonder if she actually loves that or if it low-key drives her crazy. She shows up to work and she's like, Dad, you're here again?
It probably low-key drives her nuts. She's like, I'm always going to be in your shadow, and now you have to be in my fucking...
Well, fucking deal with it. Your dad's Ric Flair. Fucking deal with it.
I'm just saying, like, okay, look.
That's not how they make Lacey Evans fucking important, is by putting her with fucking Ric Flair. I'm sorry.
I used to work an office job where my aunts worked in the same office building, and, like, if I took a day off of work, if I called out sick, I got a call from my aunts at some point during that day where they were just like, so you called out sick? Like, I feel like Charlotte's, like, living the worst version of that on national TV, and I feel bad for her. All right, I'm good on my topic. I want to go to bed.
All right, here we go. Long show today. MVP. I like this Saturday night podcast.
It's a Saturday night's main event. I forgot it was Saturday. I legitimately thought it was Sunday.
My MVP this week is Vince McMahon for getting Wrestling Challenge finally on the fucking network, like I mentioned earlier. because that was just great.
Yeah, no, he literally did it himself. I saw a video.
Well, it's his property, so fuck it. Credit.
All right, my MVP is going to be a weird one. My MVP is the guy who just defeated Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier.
McGregor lost?
Did he win?
Poirier beats McGregor via knockout at UFC 257.
Holy
3 months ago.
Shit.
Jinx.
So, yeah.
That's crazy. Actually, no. My MVP is Bernie Sanders. The fucking memes, dude.
Oh my God. I'm gonna go with the answer is Jesus. My MVP is MVP because I don't know who else to pick this week.
That's creative. All right, fellas. That was a good Saturday pod, man. Like it.
Yeah, let's do it again in 3 weeks.
Yeah. Stupid. All right. Plug your shows before you go.
All right. Name Subject to Change Wrestling Podcast. Myself and Joe Lopez are watching the year, 2003?
Yeah, we're still doing it.
Where you guys at now in the year?
SummerSlam.
SummerSlam.
Oh, okay. And of course,
we've been
fun.
We're a week or so behind, but yeah, SummerSlam.
Okay.
It's if you love Goldberg matches.
Yeah,
nah, pass.
That's 2003.
Nah, pass. And of course, Earth Week Podcast. We're back after 2 weeks. So, anyway, fellas, it was great.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
See you next.
Yay. Bye.
Don't get sick. Wrap yourself in like bubble wrap. Be careful.
I will. Later.
That COVID.
Bye.